And it goes like this. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky. And the world will be as one.
Okay, final circle. Final circle. Okay, we got this. Oh yeah. Dude. Hey dude. No, yeah. Here. Yeah, dude. It's so good to see celebrities use their platform like this. Like what? Dude, like this. Like, it just shows like, it doesn't matter how much fame they get or celebrity they get, that they've just got like such a firm grasp on reality, you know?
I mean, you don't think it's like a tad pretentious?
No. Dude. Okay, imagine, right? You're gonna go see the newest superhero movie, but instead of all like the action scenes and like the CGI and all those things that you've seen a million times already, like the main conflict is instead just like solved by the hero's words. I mean, wouldn't that be such a great movie to see?
No, not at all. In fact, I'm glad you've actually never been asked to write a movie, because that is a terrible idea. That is a bad idea.
Dude, no.
In fact, I don't even have time for this anymore. I cannot believe that you would interrupt me.
Hey, man.
Imagine, right? Oh, we finally made it, you guys. Here it is, 2021. It's a fresh start. It's a clean slate. Some of us are getting a healthy head start on those New Year's revolutions. Or resolutions. I don't know. Times are weird.
I got maced.
We're packing up our nation's capital as we're packing up our Christmas decorations. But don't put away that tree just yet. That's right. There's one more gift under that thing. Go ahead. Open it. It's to you from DC Comics. No, that's not a hot box of wet farts you see. That is Wonder Woman 1984. Or as some might call it, WW84. World War 84, the much anticipated sequel to one of my favorite superhero movies of 2017, Wonder Woman. The incredibly talented Patty Jenkins returns as director, but also dusts off the old writer's cap to helm the screenplay, replacing Zack Snyder, who wrote the previous film. Gal Gadot returns as WW herself, accompanied by Kristen Wiig, Chris Pine, and Pedro Pascal. This movie's been out a few weeks now, and a simple Google search will tell you, it's not doing well. Twitter's having a field day, which is more than a little disappointing considering Patty Jenkins' resume. She has writer and director credits on Monster, which won Oscars, obviously directed the first Wonder Woman, which was very well received, which makes the disappointment even greater. My level of excitement at the beginning of this movie just slowly devolved, scene by scene, until at the end I was left with nothing but feelings of shock, bewilderment, and fear. Now those of you who don't have 2.5 hours of your hard-earned time to donate to this movie, we here at Bros Know Best have got you covered.
So we open up, it's beautiful. I'm excited, we're firing on all cylinders going into this movie. It's beautiful shots of Themyscira. I'm not really sure, I can't hear the accent too well. There's some crazy narration of Gal Gadot. She's talking about, remembering her childhood, but not remembering some parts. It really made no sense, but we're moving past it anyway because we're soaked on this movie. They're at like some Olympic games or it looks like a damn Quidditch arena. She's competing in all these weird games and all these obstacles and somehow running like miles away on horseback, and it's weird she's winning. Like she's Ivory, definitely 9, but she's going against full-grown adults, full-grown women. And they're all yoked. And so flash forward to 1984. There's a weird montage scene of all these petty crimes going on, like people are stealing stuff. It's cool, there's all these flashy colors and you're like, oh, it's bright and vivid and that's dope. And like a Camaro's about to hit a jogger and Gal Gadot comes in and kicks it. And then a bride almost dies and like he almost falls off a bridge and she lassos her to safety, and it's bizarre. But we're following it, we're still following it. So we're at a mall scene and there's more crime going on. And there's a jewelry store that's fronting as like a black market dealer behind the scenes. And they're selling weird artifacts, but we don't really know yet, but they circle in on one and I'm like, okay, see ya movie, foreshadowing, got it. So the robbers steal the artifact and they're trying to leave, and he walks out like he just learned how to walk, drops a gun, someone yells gun, and we got ourselves an old standoff here. So the robber grabs a little girl and he's holding her at gunpoint, and then he thinks it's a great idea to dangle her over the edge like Michael Jackson in the early 2000s. And he's holding her over, and even his own cronies at this point are kind of like, dude, this is too far. Like one guy even goes like, no! We're reminded that it's a Wonder Woman movie. And Wonder Woman comes in and she's swooping in, she's kicking ass and taking names, saving little kids and throwing them into teddy bears. Real heartwarming stuff. The authorities then seize the artifact, and then fast forward a little bit longer, and then Gal Gadot's eating dinner by herself. And here in the movie is where we're introduced to Kristen Wiig's character. I mean, she's power walking to work, and she's walking, and then she's in heels, and they're really trying to hammer home that she's a dork, and she can't walk in heels, so she's walking like a baby deer. Then she drops her papers because the movie really wants us to believe that she's a dork, and as we all know, dorks drop papers. And then literally like a couple of her coworkers just walk by and just look at her like, can't believe this friggin' idiot. Like she's gonna want our help. Look at her, dork dropping papers. Like, come on. And like her own boss doesn't even remember hiring her because she's that forgettable, I guess. And then Diana Prince shows up because she's the only half decent person in this movie apparently. And there's a lot of this weird inorganic flexing going on. Like Kristen Wiig just starts going like, hi, Barbara Minerva, cryptology, zoology, theology, zoology. And then Diana Prince goes like, hi, yeah, babology, thiology, theology. I'm all the ologies. I don't know. And then so Kristen Wiig was hired to examine this artifact that the FBI had seized from earlier. Turns out this artifact is actually a wishing stone. And whoever's holding this artifact can tell it its deepest wish, and then that wish is granted. Sounds great, right? Wrong. And then Kristen Wiig and Wonder Woman are having this awkwardly romantic lunch, and they're friends now, and yada yada yada. And here's where we find out actually that Kristen Wiig's character, although she was a huge dork, is actually very nice. She's got a real heart of gold, that one. So then on her way home, Kristen Wiig's walking by, and then she gets hit on by this slimy degenerate. Remember that, we'll circle back. And just when you think things are about to go really sideways, Wonder Woman shows back up, throws this guy like 20 yards, and cat's out of the bag. She's super. And then Kristen Wiig finally, after the park scene, goes back to her office for some reason, and then she grabs the wishing stone and she's looking into it, and she says what all of us say every morning when we look into the mirror: I wish I was Gal Gadot. And then Diana wishes that Trevor comes back because of course, it's her first love, she wants him back. They gotta have a reason to have Chris Pine in the movie. And here's where we're introduced to Pedro Pascal's character, the oil guy.
The oil guy, I'll take it.
Maxwell Lord. This super charismatic, charming guy, and he's dialing that charm up to 11 with Kristen Wiig. Her self-esteem's so shot, she can't believe that he's actually hitting on her, so she just buying into whatever thing gets babbling out of his mouth. Till he's rich, or so we think, until we find out that he's defrauded all of his investors of millions of dollars for dried up oil sites. We get this beautiful meeting of him and one of his investors who slams it by calling him a loser in front of his own son.
Loser.
He's got to grab his son immediately afterwards and go, your dad is not a loser. Your dad is not a loser. So then we're at this party scene, and Kristen Wiig's getting hit on, and Gal Gadot's getting hit on relentlessly by all these dudes. And apparently they just gave them all the instruction to just be Biff from Back to the Future. It's just, all of them are just like, hey gal, nice legs, wanna come home with me? I'll take you home, baby cakes. I'll show you a good time, toots. Nice legs, wanna come home and bang? Wanna come home with me? I'll carry you there. That's all they say. They're all just misogynistic, just slime balls, which I find kind of personally insulting, just because I know if I were to ever run into Gal Gadot in person, I'd mumble over my sentence 14 times before I said something dorky like, I bet working with Batman's cool. Then Max Lord steals the stone because we need a villain, and then Chris Pine comes back because we need a love interest, but it's not really Chris Pine. He just takes over the body of some stranger, and they're just fine with that, but she sees him as Chris Pine. And then like a 5-year-old, Max Lord wishes to become the wishing stone. Loophole. Alright, so now we're into some real muddy waters, because Max Lord apparently can grant wishes, but also take whatever he wants from you. Adults wrote this. So then Maxwell Lord's going on this Genie in the Bottle tour and just granting wishes and taking whatever convenient for the plot to move forward. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine have broken into his office, and they find out in his planner that that's where he's going. He's heading to Egypt, and so that's where they need to go. And Wonder Woman can't fly yet, so they need to steal a plane. And that's what they do. They steal a plane. And then Chris Pine hops into this cockpit like he was buried in it. And like riding a bike, he just starts firing up thrusters and then just brushing up on jet plane technology that didn't even exist when he was alive in the first one. So then upon takeoff, Chris Pine fires right up into the sky, 90 degrees. Now, I don't have an extensive aeronautic background by any means, but I'm pretty sure that maneuver is gonna end you a couple nosebleeds and a few popped eardrums. So Diana turns the plane invisible so no one can see how stupid this scene is, and they're going, I can show you the world through all these fireworks, which I don't think is safe. Then back in Egypt, Max Lord, he's trying to start World War III. He's taking oil, he's taking ancestral land, you name it. And then there's a chase scene, and here's where we find out that, that the wishing stone may grant your deepest wish, it also takes your most personal prized possession. In Wonder Woman's case, it's her powers. In Kristen Wiig's case, it's her humanity. In Pedro's case, it's ability to act. And Kristen Wiig got her wish because she's a badass now, and she's punting creepy guys 20 yards, all the while becoming a real bitch. And here is where we find out that the only way to reverse the effects of the wishing stone is to recant your wishes, and I can't tell you this enough, adults wrote this. And since this is a superhero movie, Wonder Woman needs her powers, and so she recants her wish, and Chris Pine dies again, and she learns to fly. And she shows up in this fancy gold armor, which I heard was a real pain in the ass for them to shoot because it was reflecting all the lights and camera. So what do they do to mask all shitty CGI? They put it at night and make everything gray. Kristen Wiig's a big cat now, and they're fighting, and they're flipping and flying through power lines. Wonder Woman electrocutes her. We think it's fatal. It's not. I mean, dude, we're really coming unglued here. So they're sitting in the press room, and Max Lord's granting wishes by talking through the camera. He's granting all kinds of wishes. I mean, apparently everyone wants nukes. And some lady really hates the Irish, and she wishes for them to go back to wherever they came from, which is literally the only group of people you could say that about in 2021 and not get canceled. We're wishing everybody dead, more nukes. And then Wonder Woman, after her tussle with Meowaboo Barbie, she makes her way into the press room, and she's trying to get to Max Lord to get him to stop making wishes, but apparently the wish energy is just too strong, and she can't get to him, so she's pinned to the back wall while all this wind and wishes are flying around. She somehow lassos the camera and can smash that against a wall, and so she lassos around his ankle. Now Wonder Woman's hardwired in. The world hears her voice, and she's whispering, "You must recant your wishes." And Maxwell Lord is screaming, "Why wouldn't I?" She's talking to these people that can't see her, mind you. They can only hear her voice, and they don't know who the hell she is, but she's talking about how the truth is the only thing that matters, and all these wishes are going to ruin the world. And somehow, that works. And all the humans just start recanting wishes left and right. Even Maxwell, who somehow can hear his son, Alistair, it's his Achilles heel, and so he's just, "I'm done with this. I'm done with it." And so he recants his wish, everything goes back to normal. He finds his son amongst these rubble and all this debris throughout this war-torn country, and he's telling him, he's like, "Your daddy's a loser. Your daddy's such a loser." And his son looks him in the face like, "No, daddy, you're not a loser." And he's like, "Oh no, Alistair, I'm a loser." All right, so fast forward, it's Christmas time, everything's beautiful. Nobody, I guess, remembers that the world almost ended 6 months ago. And then out of the corner of her eye, Gal Gadot sees the guy that Chris Pine possessed for the entire movie, and he walks up and says some real poetry about saying something about like, there's just so many things.
So many things.
You know, actually, now that I think about it, that's actually the most accurate thing somebody would say to Gal Gadot, and then think about it every night until they died. Oh, God! Freaking, there's so many things! Oh, so many things! Real smooth, Jerry. God! Credits roll, I need a drink, and I don't care about the third one. Oops, no. Post-credit scene. Here we go. We got to shoehorn Linda Carter in there because nothing covers up bad writing like some nostalgia.
Now I know that's a lot to digest, so we wanted to break it down even more for you, because believe it or not, there were some good elements in there. They just happen to be floating in a pool of turds. Bros, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She's great. She's fantastic. Absolutely amazing. She is Wonder Woman. Chris Pine's great. They got good chemistry, good comedic timing, stunning blue eyes. For the most part, I think their use of lighting was really well done. Color, really well done. Really bright, vibrant colors. Really grabs your attention. I think the stunt work was phenomenal. They took some hard falls. Really committed to them.
Cons. The plot, disjointed as all hell. The writing, all over the place. You know, it was like they were trying to write what was convenient to them at the time. They had no roadmap. They went from point A to point B, point B, point 2, point B, point 3, like just putting in just convenient plot devices along the way to whatever made sense. It's like when you're playing as a kid, you can just create rules left and right. Like it was just like, no, you can't touch me now because I have force fields. I have force fields now, and I can also fly, so you can't touch me anymore. Like that's the vibe that this whole movie had, the entire thing. The casting choices really didn't land for me, you know, like Kristen Wiig, like I think she's funny, I think she's got really great comedic talent, but for her as like a villain role, I just didn't buy it. And then Pedro Pascal, buddy, what are you doing? You're the Mandalorian, dude. With the overacting, and I just couldn't believe it. I can't help but think that if this was the role that came out before The Mandalorian, wouldn't have got the role. Wouldn't have got it. And that bums me out. And you know, this movie really prided itself on its diversity and clearly nailed it. Which brings me to my final point, just the overall irrelevance of this movie. I, for the life of me, cannot realize why it exists. It contributes nothing to the character development of Wonder Woman. We knew she was good at the beginning, and that's all that they told us at the end. And we know, she's wonderful. Well, the only reason that I can fathom in my brain that this movie exists is to sell toys and to make money. And you know, with Chris Pine, it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me because I really like him in the role, but it's also completely devalues his role in the first movie. She loves him, he dies. We knew that in the first one. She loves him again, he dies again. I mean, what's the point?
Now, if you've made it this far and you're still not sure how we feel about this movie, let us fall back on our tried and true rating system. When it's all said and done, Wonder Woman 84, it's tough. It's tough to get through. Like Gristle. 3.5 out of 10. It's a loser. It's a nuclear bomb. My deepest wish is for it not to exist. And that's the truth. And if this movie taught us anything, it's that the truth is all that matters. Now, while we like to think we know best, we don't know everything. So push your chair up to the dinner table. Tell us your thoughts. What did you think of WW84? Was it a loser? Or was it your greatest wish? Let us know in the comments. And like always, thanks Mom for watching. We'll see you next time.
You're still here? Your legs gotta be numb by now. Did you like the video? Subscribe and watch that one. Welcome to the family.
'Cause it's getting darker and darker.